What's going on, everybody? This is Chris with Patchboidar, patches for the culture. And in today's video, we're going to do a simple tutorial on how you can export your embroidery file onto your USB stick and from your USB stick onto your embroidery machine. It's pretty straightforward process, but you'll be surprised at how many beginner embroidery artists have trouble simply just putting their file onto a USB stick. So for today's tutorial, we will be using Wilcom Hatch Digitizer. If you guys don't have that software, be sure to head over to wilcomhatch.com where you can do a free 30-day trial. You'll be able to save all of your files that you create within that time frame. And if you end up liking the software, you can purchase it. Without any more delay, I do have Wilcom Hatch loaded up right here. I got a blank canvas that you all can see. You can see my mouse moving. Hopefully you guys can follow along easily. We're going to make a simple shape, we're going to export it, and we're going to put it onto our embroidery machine. The purpose of this red line is to show you your embroidery parameters, meaning if you were to make an embroidery design, and if that design stretches out of these red lines here, your file, you'll be able to see it on the embroidery machine, but you will not be able to select it. So for those of you who are using a home embroidery machine and you're only able to embroider on a 4x4 hoop, you want to make sure that your embroidery design fits within the red parameter that's here on Wilcom Hatch. And for those of you who have a machine where you can do multiple size hoops, you don't have to worry too much about this, but if you want your design to fit within that 4x4 hoop, you want to make sure it fits within this parameter. And if you wanted to do a bigger design, all you have to do is come up here, right here where it shows the regular 100x100. You can click here, this drop down tab, and it gives you all the other hoop sizes. But we're not going to change all of that. And for any of you using a different machine other than Brother, you can come over here to this drop down tab where it says machine model list. And this gives you a list of all the different embroidery machines that are available. So I'm going to leave mine where it is. I found that this works good for my Brother PRS 100 as well as my Brother SE 625s. So getting on with this tutorial, don't want this video to be too long, but I do want to make sure I give you guys some helpful insight for when you're doing your digitizing. So over here on the left hand side in your toolboxes area, what I want you to do is come here to digitize. We're going to come down to circle/oval. We're going to click on that. We're going to do one click right here in the center. And now we're going to go ahead and stretch it out. You can stretch it out as big as you want it to be. And if you're wondering how I'm zooming in and out, I'm just using the scroll wheel on my mouse. So I'm going to make it right about there. And I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to hit enter one more time. And so now I have a circle. If you come up here where it says select and reshape, if you hit that reshape button, you'll be able to see the different nodes that go with this design. You'll be able to see your start point. You'll be able to see your end point right here, this red plus sign. My end point, I'm going to move to the bottom. My angle, I'm going to change it to 15 degrees. No big deal, just 15 degrees, just changing that. And now from here, I'm going to come up to the left-hand side. I'm going to hit select. So that way I'm no longer in the reshape feature. And what I'm going to do over here, in my objects, underneath sequence on the right-hand side, here's my object here. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to hit copy. Then I'm going to right click right below it and hit paste right there. So that gives me another circle, but with this circle, I'm going to change this to an outline. To change this to an outline, I'm going to come up here where it says outline, but you want to make sure that it is selected in your sequence. And I'm going to hit the outline button. You see that it changed around my start and end point for the first object. We'll change that later, but over here I'm going to hit satin, so that way it'll give it a little satin border. That's the super quick way of giving your patch a satin stitched outline. So now I'm going to click the fill layer. I'm going to reshape, and I want my end point to be at the bottom. All right, so that looks good. My satin stitch, I'm going to change the color of it, so that way on the embroidery machine it will stop. And let's go ahead and do this. Let's do 3 colors here. We're going to make this design 3 colors. So that way you guys can have practice changing your color threads. So I'm going to click this object, my fill object. I'm going to come over here in my drop down menu, but I'm going to minimize digitize. I'm gonna come up one to edit objects. I'm gonna click on that and I'm gonna use the knife tool. And like you see, it gave us a pink circle that goes around the entire fill design. And right here, I'm gonna just do a right click right there. I'm gonna come up a little bit. I'm gonna right click right there, and I'm gonna right click right here. And I'm gonna do this along until I get to the other side. This is just to give us a little simple wonky design. There we go. So now that I got that selected, I don't want to slice anymore or use the knife tool anymore. So I'm gonna hit enter. And as you can see, it separated those two shapes that are one object is now two objects. But now I do need to come in and change my endpoints. My endpoint down there. Let me change this one. Let's see. I don't want to do a line across, so maybe if I put it there. It's always tricky trying to find where you want your endpoint to be, just so you can like eliminate these little random stitch lines. They don't really show up when you actually embroider, but just to be on the safe side, it's good to have those not in your embroidery design. Okay, so I'm gonna change the color of that one. Let's make that one this color here. This bottom one here, we'll make that a blue color. Nothing major. Just a simple thing right here. All right, so we got our three colors. We got our design, super simple design. You guys don't have to do this exact shape. If you guys just wanted to do a simple circle, you can do that as well. But for the sake of this tutorial, I want to have three different colors so we can do three different color changes, and so that you guys will be able to see this full patch stitch out. So now that this is where we want it to be, the first thing you can do is come up here to File, right there, and you will save Design As. When you save Design As, you'll be able to change the name of the design that you want it to be. But I'm not going to do that quite yet. Instead, I'm just going to export it as it is. And also too, on Wilcom Hatch, if you look on the bottom right area right here, it says Pure Cotton. If you want to change that, come up here where it says Design Settings. Click on that. You want to come down. This is my method, but I go into Auto Fabric. And from Auto Fabric, I change that to Denim, because I usually embroider directly onto duck canvas. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit OK. And now down here on this bottom right side, you will see that it changed to Denim. Now from here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my handy dandy USB stick. I'm gonna plug it into my computer. It might pop up over here, but let me just close it. So now that my USB stick is plugged into the computer, I'm going to come over to File. I'm going to hit Export Design. There's Export Cutting. I don't know what Export Cutting is. I haven't gotten that far in the software. But you want to come to Export Design. Now from here, you want to scroll down to your USB stick. My USB stick is right here, USB drive F. And right here is default name is Design 2, but I'm going to change that to Test Patch. So the name is Test Patch. And from here where it shows the Tajima DST, I do not want that because I'm embroidering onto brother machines. So I'm going to click on it right here. You can click anywhere when it highlights. And I want this to be a PES file. So right here we got the PES. This goes for Brother, Baby Lock, and Deco. There's also PEC. I never had to use PEC files. I always use PES. So I'm gonna click PES. And I'm going to hit Save. So that should have exported onto the USB stick. So let's double check that it actually did. So on your computer, open up your little file folder. Hang on. So on your computer, open up your file folder. Go to your USB stick, and as you can see, there it is right there. So now that I know it's on the USB stick, I'm going to go ahead and export the USB stick. It is safe to remove my hardware. So now our embroidery file is on our USB stick. Hopefully this wasn't too complicated for you. Like, as I said, it is super simple to do. And if you're not using Wilcom Hatch, unfortunately, I do not know if the settings are the same as in regards to exporting your files onto a USB stick. If you have your computer hardwired to your embroidery machine, you can export it the same way, but you'll be exporting it into the machine folder. But I exported it onto this USB stick. We're gonna plug it into the Brother Persona and we're gonna stitch this thing out. I already have a hoop loaded up. The machine's already on. What we need to do is we need to plug in our USB stick onto the USB port. There are two ports on the Brother PRS 100, also known as the Brother Persona. One port is for your USB stick. The other port is for if you want to have your machine connected to your computer. So now that our USB stick is loaded up on the machine, when you're using a USB stick, what you'll do is you'll hit this center icon right here. That's for the USB stick. The other icon, where it's the USB icon plus the computer, that's for if you have your embroidery machine connected to your computer. But we're not doing that. Instead, we got our USB drive in the machine. So I'm gonna hit that middle button and it's transmitting. Since there's only one design on this USB stick, it came up super fast. So the next thing to do here will be to tap on our design. I'm going to hit the set button right down here. As you can see, I got my red, my blue, and the black final layer. The size is 2.62 inches by 2.62 inches. If I was to make this design like 4.5 inches, it would show up on the Persona, but I would have to change my hoop. If you're using the Brother SE625 or one of those home single needle machines where the hoop is only 4x4, you can only embroider, I believe, up to 3.85 inches. Correct me if I'm wrong, but usually on a 4x4 hoop, you can't actually embroider a 4-inch design. It will be just shy of 4 inches. So now that we have our design on the machine, we got to hit this embroidery button right there. Now the machine is fully ready to start embroidering this design, but I'm not fully ready because I don't even have the colors loaded up. So let me go ahead and load these colors up and then we will start this embroidery. So now I'm going to go ahead and go through the process of threading the red thread through the needle. All right, that's that. So now all I got to do now is hit my lock button. My button turns green. Go ahead and press that and get it going. While that's embroidering, I'm gonna go ahead and prep the blue thread and the black thread. And I'll let you guys sit here and watch this thing embroider. If you guys are finding this video helpful so far, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you are new to this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that way you are notified when we upload future content. And when it comes time to oil this machine, I will be using this Versa oil from Spot On right here. It got some nice little needle spout right there. It makes it super easy to pinpoint that oil drop. I picked this up from Amazon. All right, so we just got that finished embroidery chime. Let's go ahead and take it up off the hoop. 2 hands, 1 hand on each side. And there we have it. There it is. Not too shabby, right? Turned out really good. So if you guys have found this video helpful, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. If there's something that wasn't made clearly, be sure to leave us a comment so that way if we need to do an updated video, we can. But the main purpose of this video was to show you how you can easily export your design onto your USB stick, and then load that USB stick into your embroidery machine. And then from there you can select that embroidery file that we just created here. If you were following along, you probably made yourself a design like this, or you could have just simply made a circle. But either or, we greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. This has been Chris with Embroidery, patches for the culture, and we'll see you on the next one.